so here I am in the process of the latest dial, the fifth in the 5 dials in 14-day saga. So this is gonna be my sidewalk, and then I'm gonna have I got cut some molding up for the bottom of the building. So it'll be the first time that I'm using this molding, or wood molding, for an outdoor dial. I've used it a couple times in some of the living rooms I've put out, but pretty much this is what it looks like. And you get one of these long sticks. I think they're 6 feet, and I think I paid $2-3, not even expensive at all. So just wanted to quick little update on where I am with that. And this will all be attached to the floor and the side of the building. And I'll show that footage next. Peace. Alright, man, so we've progressed a little bit on this one today. And so this is a commission dial rooftop. So I took a little further and I kind of made it a rooftop as well as a street level type dial, just so again he can get some uses out of it. So I actually wanted to just show this piece is I don't know, I guess just because it can help somebody if they ever do this type of diorama or something similar. But so this right here, this is one foam board piece, and then obviously I did the whole cutting and painting and the whole nine. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue this onto the floor, so it's been sized and the whole nine. And then as I'm doing that, it's gonna create some gaps in between the walls. So what I did is I created or painted some molding that I'm gonna actually glue onto the wall, so it'll be permanently placed on the wall. And that will eliminate the gap between the walls and the sidewalk, because again, these are, at the end of the day, this is a removable wall. So when you remove that wall, the molding is going to be stuck or glued onto the wall. And then that sidewalk piece will be glued onto the overall bottom piece. So it'll just kind of fit puzzle piece style. So that's what I've noticed with this diorama, as I had said in the last video, that this one's definitely a little more puzzle piece-ish, I guess. I don't even know if that's a word. Was able to paint the windows. I'm having a dilemma with this one though, because you can actually take off, slide off the glass. I think it's a good option to leave. And it's a real tight fit. As you can see, I'm struggling to put it with one hand, so it fits real snug in there. So I may just not glue it on so that the owner is able to take off the glass, so you can slide right from the top. And it gives you an option to do something where somebody's trying to crawl up the window or whatever it is. So instead of just, if I glue it in, then you can't take that piece out. So I think I'm gonna just leave it so he can move it in and out. It should be okay, because again, it's pretty tight. Painted the door. The good thing about the door is that it already came with the glass part covered in that paper tape. So once I'm ready to roll, all I have to do is peel it off, and it's gonna be a nice clear window. So yeah, man, this is where I'm at right now. I think it's coming out pretty good. And then this is gonna be a semi parking lot, or put a couple yellow lines. So it's gonna be actually it's coming out pretty dope, to be honest with you. Now that I'm seeing it kind of be put together, it's looking pretty solid. And I'm gonna put a water or a sewer pipe rolling down, because there's a gap here, and I have to paint that gap. Forgot to paint that, but alright, there's where I'm at. So this one is complete. Finally done with this.
this was part of my 5 dioramas in 14 days. I failed. It took me 16 days, so not too bad. I guess on Sundays or Saturdays, I do a lot of work on dials, and I didn't get a chance to airbrush this one and the one that I was working on for Century, so I had to wait till yesterday. Yesterday was Monday, so I can airbrush it and then give it that acrylic sealer, which is something I have to do kind of on the front porch, as it doesn't smell too good, and even when you bring it in the house, just to kind of let it settle in the warm temperature versus the colder temperature on the porch. It definitely stinks up the room a little bit. So I always have to be careful with the kids in the house and so forth. So anyway, here it is. So at the end of it all, from this point, the highest point, wow, it almost looks like I cheated. It almost looks like I actually went a little higher to make it taller. Actually, what it was is this was the last wall I put in, and I didn't have a piece that matched this height, that had a square, kind of a flat bottom, that I needed to make sure that it was perfectly straight. And what I mean by that, not flat bottom, but the edge is factory cut. So I wanted the factory cut edge on the top of this wall. So this, so obviously that's why it's a little bit shorter. But anyway, at its height, it's 29 inches from here to the black. Some of the highlights. So it's fully magnetized. This is permanently glued on. This was that 1 inch, or sorry, half an inch project foam board that I had earlier in the video. Then I added these yesterday. These are just those little blockers so that the cars don't go over the and onto the curb. And it's funny because as I'm about to record, I kind of look at this. So this is it's just draining water from whatever part of the building. And what I should have done with this is I should have cut it up to here and maybe stuck it into the wall and made it seem like the sewer, or not the sewer, but the drainage is coming from would come from the top and just go into the corner and come down. So I didn't do that. So it kind of does. It looks like it doesn't make any sense, and I guess it doesn't. Because usually this is connected to kind of another piece here where it collects the rain. But yeah, so I just noticed that right now, and it's going to be shipped as, so this is where we're at with it. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're taking shots, that's not going to be such a big deal if you take a shot there, or even if you take a shot, something like that. You should be able to get around it. I mean, I always try to make to make it as accurate as possible. And literally just noticed it before I press record. Parking spots are probably not exactly 1/12, but pretty close. I kind of stood a figure up, and it's pretty close. But I wanted to get 2 yellow lines in, as I felt that if this wasn't there, it wouldn't look as good with that yellow line on the corner. All right, so this is the deal. This was a piece of molding, just wood, cost $1.50 or something like that. Was able to glue it and blend it into the wall. Again, went with that different door than usual. This is a little more expensive, probably $2 more. So instead of the 11 that I'm normally paid, it was almost $13, but that's cool. This window was a window I got from Jack over in California, Cali, and it's actually, I like it better than the ones I get here in Boston, or where I get mine anyway, as this one's definitely a little more flatter, skinnier here, so it sticks into the wall better. Actually, it's not glued on. You can pop it out from the back, and the reason I did that is because it has the plexiglass, and you can remove it. So if he wants to do a shot, he's just gonna have to pop out the window, take the glass out, and pop the window back in, and he can do a shot with somebody hanging out the window. This is plexiglass as well, but that cannot be removed. Went with this look. Actually, you know what? Sometimes when you mess up, it turns out good. I cut this wrong. It came out crooked, so I had to kind of fix it and straighten it out. By doing that, I had to chop it up to the point where there was a gap here. And so originally this was supposed to be flush against the brick. But what happens is that if it would have been flush against the brick and I would have had the molding wrapping around, I obviously want to have this, but the molding wrapping around, it would have ended there and then gone down a level to the street. And I just thought it would have looked a little weird. So I'm glad it happened this way, because it kind of makes sense. So the water's coming out through here and then being spread out or what have you. So and then I'm able to get the molding all the way across straight on the back. So that, you know, I was kind of happy with how that turned out. Yeah, so anyway, 29 inches tall, 2 feet across, 16 inches deep. And I am gonna break it down real quick and show you guys where the magnets were placed and all that other good stuff. So first, let's start with the top. I have a magnet here in this corner and on here, just so we can kind of get, because I had it would just kind of fling open. So it's magnetized now. There's also magnets in those corners, and that's what gets that together. And here's a smaller magnet on the side that I was talking about. So this part's magnetized. This is magnetized to the top of the wall. I did a little bit of a different system or I had never done this type of rooftop. So what I did is kind of made it so that, so this is the floor, the rooftop floor. And then I just kind of rigged it here so it has like some balsa wood there and some balsa wood here. And when the floor was put on, and it's really hard because what happens is that these tend to warp a little bit different ways. So even if I measure it exactly, it's gonna be off a little bit. So this balsa wood not only covers up those gaps and makes it look a little more flush, it also kind of lines it up with this bottom piece that I was able to put in. So all you got to do is kind of open this this side up and just kind of place the floor and then close it up. So this magnetized just in that corner and on the back here. So magnet there, that goes to this and that. I have just one magnet at the top of this wall. So this magnet is connected to that magnet. Take this off. And then finally we have a magnet there and a magnet there. So I haven't really counted the magnets, but there's a whole bunch of magnets. Yeah, so once it's so that's what it flattens out to once everything is said and done. You know, pretty easy to store away. Again, man, my goal with making these dioramas always to make it you know, collapsible so you can just store it away whenever you're not using it, or if you're moving or what have you. And so that you have, you know, so something pretty large kind of becomes, you know, compact. And the other goal is to get as many angles for you to take pictures in, because I'm always looking at it as from a toy photographer's perspective when I make these. So I'm not thinking it's just going to be a display, because if it is going to be just a display, it works out either way with the other side of it, which is let me make as many angles as possible so you can take as many different pictures and get a whole bunch of use out of this diorama. I mean, they're not cheap, so you want to, you know, get as much as you can from it. So if I approach it that way, and it just becomes a display piece, then cool, it's going to look good as a display piece as well. And a lot of times, you know, the larger ones don't really work as a display piece just because they're so big. And I guess they can if you have a big enough space. I don't, so I guess I'm going from that mindset. But yeah, happy how it turned out. It's ready to be shipped. I actually drove and I was driving and I saw that big ass box on the side during recycling, so it was empty, so I snatched it up, and the diorama is going to take about half that box, so I have to modify the box because it's going to be hard to get. The back piece alone is 18 by 24, which is one of the biggest pieces I'm going to ship out that I've ever shipped out. So I wanted to make sure that I had a box that was going to fit it and protect it on the way to New York City. All right, man, so I'm done, and I'm out. Peace.